Hi, everybody. Welcome to Love, Life, and Marriage with the Woods. I am Saiko.
And I'm Sharon.
And welcome to our channel. As always, please like, subscribe, share the video. Please hit the notification bell at the bottom of the screen and follow us anytime we post up our videos. We appreciate the support, appreciate the prayers. Please let people know about our ministry because this is how we get the information out through you, the viewer. Like to contact me, SaikoWoods@yahoo.com, and for the missus,
SRENA Woods 36@yahoo.com, or inbox me on Facebook.
All right, so listen, we are in seems to be a series now on creation roles because my wife has had so many thoughts and ideas and questions. Yeah, it's been popping up in her head like popcorn. So we wanted to just, go with the flow of it. Didn't want to, stop anything that was, being creative in our discussions together. So we wanted to tackle and address, as we had promised on the last video, should a Christian wife work outside the home? What are your thoughts about that?
Well,
should a Christian wife work outside the home?
Should she?
Yeah, should a Christian wife work outside the home? We're talking about creation roles and everything. Should she work outside the home?
I mean, she has the liberty to do so.
Okay. Is she wrong for doing that? Is she considered a Jezzy? Would she be considered money hungry? Is she outside of her creation role? Is she not fulfilling her purpose?
That all goes back to her motive.
Okay.
For wanting to work outside the home.
Okay.
So if your motive to work outside the home is because you just can't live without corporate America, or you want to have I guess you're thirsting after a certain lifestyle, or if you don't want your quote unquote your degree to go to waste, so you make yourself, so to speak, go out to work. Those are things that you have to consider, what your motive is behind the reasoning why you actually want to work outside the home. Not because you are trying to better your family, or because you're trying to help support your family, or make sure that their needs are met. Those are significant reasons why a wife would work outside the home.
Yeah, and notice we said wife. I'm not talking about a single parent or single mom. It's obvious that you're in a different, dynamic from those who are wives. So this particular episode is going to be primarily for Christian wives, but you can still glean from the insight and principles for those of you who are single moms. If your desire is to be married, what to look for, in a spouse, or you to share your desire to that potential, spouse as well, on what your purpose and what your goals and aspirations are to be a wife whose desire may be to work, at home. So Carm.org is where I pulled this particular article up because it pretty much, I believe it ties into what we wanted to discuss and what we wanted to, share. And some of these questions are what we, kind of like, I guess, thought through when you decided to work outside the home, because we both work outside the home. My wife had been a stay-at-home mom for how many years?
10 years.
For 10 years. Did you love it?
I did.
Did you like it?
Loved it.
Every day?
Yeah.
So this is going to be unscripted. I may be just as surprised as you all are by some of the answers that I received regarding this new season that my wife is in, because we're going to discuss this. We're going to share. She's going to open up her heart. She's going to share her joys, her frustrations, where she is now. All right. So, but let's jump right into this article. Again, should a Christian wife work outside the home? This is by Shelley Poston, and it's from Carm.org. It's dated August 17th of 2009, and it says, the Bible does not prohibit a woman from holding a job outside the home. In fact, it appears that the Proverbs 31 woman had her own business that took her away from the home during certain periods of time. And you find that in Proverbs 31 verse 24. Now let me just put a little pin in something real quick. There are ministries like the P31 if you are a P31 woman, then you should be doing what a P31 woman is doing in the scripture. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about you not just having classes about knitting and getting coupons and I guess try to diss or disrespect or look down on women who are working outside the home because you've been indoctrinated in thinking that a true P31 woman doesn't work outside the home, and you're struggling. When you have gifts and you have abilities and you have talents and skills that could help your husband, because we talked about that in the beginning of this Creation Road series. The purpose of the wife is to come alongside, is to help, is to be a help meet to her husband, right, not a help hindrance to her husband. Right? Did you want to touch on that? Okay, because I think you feel your help coming on with that one. Let me take me a little sip real quick, because I think I just struck something on that one.
It's not, it should not be that hard for us to want or desire to help our mate, our husbands, our spouses. Mm-hmm. That should be something that it should come natural to us to have a desire to want to help our spouses. If your spouse is in need of your income, if your spouse is in need of your help to maintain the household, and if you have the ability to do so, why would you not want to come alongside your husband and help him in that particular season? We don't know how long that season will be. We don't know how long this season is going to be for me. Right. So
it was 10 years before before we decided that it would be best and beneficial for our family. Notice, our family. Right. For
and
her
I worked at the beginning of our marriage.
You sure did.
The first...
I met you working.
Yeah, you met me working. So the first year I worked, and then about a year and a half, I got pregnant with our first daughter. Mm-hmm. And I worked through that pregnancy.
Yes.
And I only took off 6 weeks. 6 weeks after she was, here.
That was kind of hard.
That was difficult.
That was very difficult. I remember I had a pickup truck. I think it was new.
It wasn't new. Was it? Oh, it was. It was a green one.
Yeah. GMC Sierra. Yeah. And had her sitting in the front. We had the car seat turned, of course, in position for safety. And I remember taking her to the daycare. And that was one of the hardest things we did. But that was the season that we were in. Now, I believe my wife is going to attest and even, affirm what I'm about to say. There's some of you right now who are watching this video who are in that season right now where you're having to take your child to daycare. Let me tell you something. Don't let anyone guilt you. Don't let anyone look down upon you. Don't let anyone make you feel that you are less than a mother or less than a father if you are having to, in this season in your life, to put your child in daycare. Of course, put him in a place that you know is safe. Put him in a place with people you can trust. By God's grace, we have people that we trusted that loved our daughter as their own. But of course we know there's nothing like being home with your children, but you're in that season to where you're not able to. You may desire to, but you're not able to do that. So don't feel guilty. Don't let anybody make you feel guilty or feel like you're less than a parent, or you're not loving your child, or you're not fulfilling your role. No, you're fulfilling your role by providing and taking care of your children or your child. So, and we say that with all seriousness, man. A lot of people want to try to look down on you
and try to guilt somebody for going back to work.
Yeah, or going. Yeah. So I just say this. Unless you're going to cut people a check, then shut up.
Right.
If you're not going to contribute to the support, then contribute and shut your mouth, because you're not helping the individual that's going through this and they're wanting to do better. But right now, God has them in His sovereign plan in that season in their life. Yeah. And so you should be a support to them instead of being a hindrance to them. So just wanted to say that. It said women. The Proverbs 31 woman had her own business that took her away from the home during certain periods of time. However, there are biblical principles that should be considered before taking a job outside of the home. And there were a series of questions. Number one, what is my primary responsibility as a wife? Number two, what is my reason for working outside of the home? 3, what is my season of life? 4, what is my energy level? And then 5, will this create home life division or unnecessary temptation? So we want to just touch on a few of these things and highlight on the main things that we, found to be beneficial. But you can find this article under carm.org. Should a Christian wife work outside of the home? So what is my primary responsibility as a wife? Chad, you want to read the first paragraph? Or do you need glasses? Okay. So it says, Paul addresses this in Titus 2. Paul
I can't see.
She's supposed to wear glasses. She don't look cute wearing glasses. She has the glasses when she had like a t-shirt back in the day. It's right over the bridge of her nose.
Because they're reader glasses. I don't need them to see.
But you need them to read.
Right.
And you got paper. So okay, so
I didn't know it was gonna be reading.
Even though I printed the paper out ahead of time and read it before we started the video. Paul addresses this in Titus 2. Paul exhorts the older women to teach the younger women about their roles. Notice, about their roles within the marriage and the family unit. That's in verse 4 of Titus 2. A wife's role is to be her husband's helper. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. She must ask herself, what will be a help to her husband? Not what will be a help to your pastor and being a help to your husband. No. What will be a help to your husband, to your household, to your family?
If you are helping or a man and the pastor more than you are your husband, that's a problem.
That's a huge problem.
You should be your husband's biggest cheerleader. That comes along with being one. That comes along with support and encouragement.
Yep.
If you're doing that for your pastor, but you're not doing that at home for your husband, for your spouse,
shame on you.
There's something wrong with that.
Shame on you. Shame on you. And you need, and that will require discipleship, because the Titus 2 woman, she's going to teach the younger women how to love her husband, love her children, right? That's what the Bible says. It says also, she must ask herself, what would be a help to her husband? This does not mean that she cannot have individual pursuits and hobbies. I tell my wife all the time, listen, I don't want her just going home and not doing something or doing nothing for herself. I want you to do something for yourself, because I don't want her to feel that her life is just, absorbed with just her husband and her children. No, you need to do something for yourself, and only for yourself. I tell my wife this all the time. You ain't got to be buying these kids something. No, get yourself something. I don't care what it is. Do something for you. And there were times when we were not able to, but God has us in a season where we're slowly now seeing and turning the corner in our lives, financially, relationally, and all these things, because our children are getting older. They're not little babies anymore. And so with that, there's different levels and different areas and seasons in your life with that. But he says this does not mean that she cannot have individual pursuits and hobbies. However, she places her marriage and her husband's profit before all else. This is in Proverbs 31, verse 11, which says, the heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. Ladies, ask yourself the question, does your husband trust you with everything he has? If he has to hem and haw, if there's some hesitation behind that, y'all need to have a conversation. Y'all need counseling. Because there should be nothing that your husband does not trust you with when it comes to y'all's marriage. Your marriage is the first foundation that God has set up before your children and anything else has come into the picture. So he should be able to trust you with his money. He should be able to trust you with his life.
You trust me?
Yeah, I trust you. Yeah, I trust you. I do trust you. I trust you.
What's that smirky grin for?
Well, because if I did, that'd be a different video, wouldn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, again, you have to do all that, the neck thing. Yeah, you had your neck tilted. No, I trust my wife. Been in this thing for 20 years. I trust her. I mean, you already heard with the check thing. I don't even check my, she runs the whole gamut because I trust her. And plus I don't have time. So, it says, this is not a subservient position, but one of love.
Yes, absolutely. Right. That's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
That this should come from the heart.
Yes. The
things that we do for our spouse, for our husband, should come from the heart. Somebody shouldn't have to push you to do something to help your spouse.
Right. And you shouldn't feel like you're a slave or feel like you're, third class citizen because you're, and if you are, who's talking to you? You know, who's in your ear? Either it's the world, the flesh,
or your single friends.
Yeah. The world. I consider the world being your friends or whatever. Who you talking to? What you listen to? The flesh, your own deceptive heart that's unguarded and unchecked at times that you got to keep in check, or it's the enemy of our souls, the devil. Because if you're feeling like you're somebody's slave and your husband is not treating you that way, then somebody else is talking to you other than God's word, and you need to deal with that. It says the wife is also responsible to take care of the children and the home. That's Titus 2:5-6. At creation, Eve was placed in the position to bear children. Woman was also created to nurture her children. While the Proverbs 31 wife's husband was providing for the family, she was supervising home life, profit, and activities. You find it in verse 21. Paul exhorts women to work at home, Titus 2:5. During this time, many women were idle, spreading gossip, but it was Paul's exhortation for women to labor faithfully, taking care of their responsibilities. A woman should ask herself if she can keep home life and its responsibilities while working outside of the home. It is a balancing act.
Right. It definitely is.
It's a balancing act, and it's not a solo act. Let me say that as well. If y'all are married and she's helping you as a husband, man, does not mean that, okay, she's helping you, but you don't help her with her responsibilities in the home. That's inconsiderate. That's being inconsiderate. That's being selfish. Because if she's helping to help you provide for the home, then you should be helping her to help take care of the home inside. It goes both ways. It's not just one way only. No, it's both and. Again, you are complementing each other, and it's a balance. It's where you see your wife is in need. You shouldn't have to wait for her to ask you to help. You should be willing to come alongside and jump right in, both feet first, both feet into that, and say, hey, I got this. Now, if you're not good at it, that's one thing. And most wives will tell you, no, baby, I got it. No, oh, we don't want to help. Okay, why don't you just do this over here? Because if you can't cook, then don't try to help cook. You know, open up a bag of corn or something. You can do that. But if you try to cook and ain't your gift, ain't your calling, you're making it more more laborious for her than it be, labor free. So
well, I mean, we have all girls, so
yes,
you couldn't do hair.
No, you wouldn't even try to do hair.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even try to do that. Mm-hmm. Boys is different. I had that, but girls, no. I can do a little twist, but it'd be just like that. That's it. That's the only twist I know. So let's see. Okay, let's move on. It says, at creation, Eve was placed in a position to bear children. Woman was created to nurture her children. While the Proverbs 31 wife and husband was providing for her family, she was supervising home life, profit, and activities. Paul exhorts women to work at home. During this time, women were idle, spreading gossip, but it was Paul's exhortation for women to labor faithfully. And reading it again. You interrupted being rude. Taking care of their responsibilities. A woman should ask herself if she can keep home life and its responsibilities while working outside the home. Number 2, what is my reason for working outside of the home? Here's where the motivation comes now. We talked about it just a minute ago. It says many women work outside of the home because of finances. A husband and wife must decide together, and notice it's together. It's not just one person making a decision. It must be a joint effort. It must be a joint decision here. A husband and wife must decide together what their financial situation requires. However, it will be wise for families to consider the difference between needs and wants. A nurturing home life always outweighs momentary material accumulation that is not necessarily required, and that is true. If you're trying to be like the Joneses, you're going to always try to be like the Joneses, and the family suffers. If you're trying to get the newest car or the newest this or the newest that, instead of raising children and being content with what you have and having a lifestyle that is not going to cause you to be into deeper and deeper debt, because we're stewards. And so God is entrusting us with whatever we have to bring glory and honor to Him. But if we're doing it and get on this money chase, then that shows that we value money. And the Bible says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. And those that go after it, they find themselves in pain. They put themselves in harm. And so it's not good to do that, especially when your children are seeing what you value. And they know what we value by how we talk about it, what we talk about the most. It also says the pattern in the Bible is for a wife to maintain the home, and there is always blessing in God's relationship structures. If a family is struggling financially, it may be preferable for a wife to first consider if she can find a job that keeps her closer to home, has convenient hours for the family, or is run out of her home. So let's talk about that. I think this last part right here is key for us. So it says, again, if the family is struggling financially, it may be preferable for a wife to first consider if she can find a job that keeps her close to home. What was our situation? What caused you to, for us to decide, in this season, given where we are, given what we're doing, our girls are homeschooled, they're older, it takes money to do that. But given the job that I have, trying to hold down everything will be financially impossible for me to do at this time. So what was the conversation that we had, and why did you decide to do it? Because again, you was out of it for 10 years. You already said at the beginning of the video, you enjoyed being at home. I enjoyed you being at home, and our goal is to have my wife back at home. That's our goal. The goal is to have her right back at home. But this is the season where we are. But again, what were the struggles? What was the things that you had to mentally hurdle over and deal with?
Well, even if we go back to a little bit further, or a little further up, when it said that that the husband and wife should, decide together. Yeah. If this was what our financial situation required. Right. And so we talked about it together, and we knew that, first of all, some things that we did not want to, what's the word I'm looking for? No, cancel or take away, so to speak. Okay. And one of those things that was very important to us was homeschooling. Okay. Is it still important for us? Yeah. Okay. It is. Why? Because look at where we are in this country right now. And everything that's going on right now. What we would have had to do had our kids been in public school.
And some people say, well, what's wrong with public school? Now we're not knocking anybody else.
No, we're not. But that was a decision that we made in 2015. That was a decision that we made because of what we saw, the trajectory of where this country was going, the decisions that were being made at the time.
Even being made now.
Yeah, even being made now. Yeah. It was just time for us to, and the education for our children is primarily our responsibility anyway. True. So since we did not want to put our children back in public school, and our youngest had never been in public school. No. So that would have been another whole
culture
issue
shock
in and of itself, because she had been nowhere other than with me. Yep. So we talked about it and discussed it, and we said, okay, well, these are the ground rules. We're going to lay out the ground rules. If I can find a job that has a decent salary, that would be enough, that would be that would be able to contribute to the household. Secondly, that it would be close to home, and that the hours would be conducive to our home life. Yes. God blessed us with all three of those.
Say it again.
God blessed us with all of those.
Yeah, and I think that was where because we prayed about it, asked for God to do it, and He did it. But then, what did the enemy try to do?
Well, the enemy tried to come in my mind, and that's where the enemy always starts, is in the mind. The enemy came into my mind, having me to think that I had made a mistake. And it was more so because school started in August, and then of course, I started thinking about all the things I was missing out on. I wasn't here to help with homework. I wasn't here, for those first few weeks of school. And my older girls, they helped out so much. And they was like, Mom, we got it. Yep. And I was very encouraging. They shout out to my daughter, Myra Now. They have their own video show too, Myra Now Unfiltered. Check it out, YouTube. Shameless plug. Go ahead. Painting. Yeah. So anyway, the older girls helped us out a lot. Yeah. I don't think if they were as mature as they are, I don't think we would have been able to do.
No, we wouldn't have been. And that speaks to God's providence as well, because he knew that it seems like God, when we had to make major decisions, and I'm talking about major decisions, he would providentially orchestrate situations to where we would know, looking back on, okay, God was doing that. It may not have always been favorable that we would have done it, and how we would have done it, and how we would have planned it out. But when we look at it, God always, in his own providence and orchestration of events, he set these things up. And so, the enemy did that, but there was a particular person that helped you to see.
Yeah.
And you did a video about that as well too. But this particular person helped you to see that you are not counting your blessings and naming them one by one as you should have been. And it took a particular person to open your eyes to see that. And who was that person?
Well, God used my brother-in-law, Brian. He used him to encourage me.
Yes.
To put my focus back on God. I had to put my focus back on so many things that he had already blessed me with.
Yes.
Because I was not thinking that. I was not thinking on what was good. I wasn't thinking on what was right. I wasn't thinking on what was true. I wasn't thinking on what was of good report. I wasn't thinking any of those things.
All negative. She was looking at the glass as half empty instead of half full. That's what we say. We say in our house, I try to help my family to look at situations as half full instead of half empty. Because half empty, you're like, man, all I got left is this. No, this is what I have is this. Yeah. So it's how we see it. So he spoke to you, helped you to see some things. Yeah. Did that turn the corner for you?
It did. It turned the corner for me because I immediately had to ask the Lord for forgiveness because of my attitude, my heart attitude, and my outward attitude. Because even just getting up in the morning was a struggle for me. I was like, ugh.
She was crying, y'all. She would cry while we was praying. When we have our morning prayer time, she would cry. Yeah. And I would have to ask the Lord, like, Lord, okay, help me now to be patient with her, because I started getting frustrated. I'm like, man, what you crying for? We going to work. But the Lord had to deal with my heart because, again, had to deal with her according to knowledge as a weaker vessel. And at the same time also, she was out of the game for 10 years. And so she's now coming back into this thing, and her heart's desire is to be home.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So when your heart's desire is to be somewhere, but God in his sovereignty and in his providence and his purpose for your life in that season has you somewhere else, then we have to change our mind on what we want to what God wants for us, and then look at the big picture, because it's now a blessing for us to do what we're doing. I'll say this as well. So when she did, God allowed her to turn the corner with that situation. Everything she had mentioned, God answered our prayer. She had 2 job opportunities that was given to her. She had one bank, I think it was Chase, that contacted her. She had a choice to choose from there, but I was been further away. But she had the place she works at now, which is about 25 minutes, I think, away.
It's less than that.
It can't be that. It cannot be 20. It can't be less than 20 minutes away.
Yeah, if I take 99, I get to work in 13 minutes.
Okay, so she has a job that's less than 15 minutes away from the house. Okay, so now, again, if that's the case, then that's answered prayer. Mm-hmm. The salary that she has is comparable. She ended up getting a raise, at a job. And a promotion, yeah. Right? And so what I told my wife is that you occupy until God changes the situation, turns the situation around. Whatever he gives us. Now, of course, not to whereas, we neglect the home. Not that, but if promotion comes, it is not going to take away from the family, and it's not going to take away from what you're called to do and the season that God has you in, then that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because this is where God has us. Now, looking where we are now with this COVID-19 and this coronavirus situation, God has us to be essential workers. Now, personally, every worker is essential because everybody needs to work. And so my prayers for those of you who may be watching this video and you are not able to work because you're considered a non-essential employee. No, you are an essential employee because you have essential bills and you have essential responsibilities and you have essential children and you have essential things that you need to do for your household. So my encouragement to you is to find something that will help you even outside of maybe getting, support from the government through unemployment, if they're still doing that. But don't look at what you're doing as being nothing, because it is. But for us, God allowed us to become essential employees, not even knowing that this coronavirus was going to hit. Not even knowing that. Had no clue. I was even contemplating trying to drive over the road. But God He did not allow those opportunities to come to whereas I would have decided to do that. And I was put in situations to where, I was like, okay, maybe I need to do this, maybe I need to do that. And God always frustrated it. Yeah, He always frustrated it because I want to be home with my family, and so I work at a trucking company where I'm able to come home every day, every single day, and I'm off on weekends. My wife works every other weekend. And listen, she only works on Saturdays for 3 or 4 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours, and then she's done for the day. You know what I'm saying? So, looking at what God has done, and go ahead. And
I work with some very nice, understanding people.
Patient people. Gracious people.
And I'm like,
yes.
My goodness.
Yes.
I mean, because my work environment could have been so horrible, which would have made working a whole lot different. Mm-hmm. Would have made everything just a whole lot harder for me. But God, knowing me, He knows His child. He knows His daughter.
Yeah.
So He put me in a place where I'm with someone that I can have conversation with. He put me in a place where I have someone who's also a believer that works with me. So I really couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah. So this season in our life, we just wanted to share with you all. This is the season that God has us in. And so when we looked at these questions, what is my season of life? Mm-hmm. The daily life of a wife with toddlers differ greatly from a wife who has an empty nest. And I mean, that's just obviously true. A family with small children must consider what is best for their children's development and well-being. This might mean sacrifices financially for a wife to stay at home in their early years. A woman with school-age children may work during school hours, and an empty nester will have more time to use outside of the home and also for the church. So you have to know the season that God has you in. If you have little babies, little children, your dynamic is going to be different. So don't try to compare. Stop allowing people, and you stop comparing your life and your family to somebody else's family.
Yes.
Listen, even if both families are similar, your bank account may not be.
Right.
And your maturity level may not be. And then also your energy level. This other thing is, what is my energy level? Mm-hmm. So you may have one woman whose energy is up here, but another woman's energy is way down here. Once she gets home, it's like she shuts down.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to know what your energy level is. And this is where the husband comes along and tries to help alleviate as much of the burden and either come alongside to help bear the burden as much as possible so she does not become overwhelmed with all the responsibilities, because homework still needs to get done, clothes still need to be washed, food still need to be cooked. You can only go out to eat for so long, because now if you're trying to save money, going out to eat is another factor.
Right.
So you have to look at all these dynamics and look at what you're doing, and then you want to spend time with each other as a couple, right? So if you're tired and you're not able to to perform or able to do what you're called to do as a husband, as a wife, it's going to cause problems in the marriage, which leads us to the last part. Will this create home life division or unnecessary temptation? I mean, you have to ask those questions. Is this drawing us further away from each other, or is it drawing us closer to each other and bonding? Is it drawing me to the arms of another man or to another woman through temptation because I'm not getting what I need from home? Because those are realistic issues that happen when the home is suffers.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, if it's unbalanced, so you have to count the costs with that and be willing to make the necessary sacrifices, for the betterment of your marriage and the betterment of your family.
How do you think our family is dealing with the fact that I'm working right now? Because I'm embarking on 2 years now of being outside the home.
I think the girls said that they were okay. First year, our youngest girl, we was like, Lord, it was rough. I mean, I think it was rough for her.
It was. I missed her birthday. I was like, oh, this is hard.
How you miss her birthday?
I was at work on her birthday.
Oh, okay. You like missed her birthday, like you were gone. You weren't like gone. You came home. You just weren't home all day. Yeah, but the whole day was gone. Yeah. Well, see, that's my point. So but I think you took it to a different level.
I probably did.
Yeah, you did.
Because I mean, she's our youngest. She's
right.
the baby of the family.
Yeah, Katie.
So it hit hard for me watching her struggle through school, and then sometimes losing patience.
Yeah.
With trying to help her with homework when I got off from work. And then her sisters struggling to help her with homework because they had their own homework to do. So all of that encompassed everything, and it was just like, oh.
Yeah, but I think now they are able to to adapt and acclimate themselves to it. But we also had to have a family conversation as well too. Mm-hmm. Say, look, without your mother, I'm not able to do what I need to do. And without each other, y'all not able to do what y'all need to do. So we had to show them the importance of teamwork and family. Right. Because what affects one family member is going to affect us all. And so that's what we try to instill in our girls. Like, listen, you may think that what you are dealing with, that you can't help someone else. Listen, yes, you can. It's all about time management because you do what you want to do when it's important to you. And right. So when everyone is helping and pulling their own load and helping bear other people's burdens, then it's an overlap. It's to be some shared responsibility. But if you got one person doing all of the work over here, and this person is doing a little bit of nothing, and this person is maybe doing all the work on this end, it's going to be an imbalance. So we try to teach our children and our family the importance of serving others and considering others is more important than themselves. And when everyone is doing that, then the blessing and the benefit far outweighs the burden that you think that you are, you're being overwhelmed with. So I think that's what I would take from this. What you think? Any other closing thoughts before we end this one out?
Nope.
You sure? Because we're about 37 minutes into this video.
Yeah, I know. It's just, hey.
We wanted to put it out there. I know. You anything else? The clock's still running. You want to share anything else? Any final words? Any closing thoughts? I mean, you did three-part series. Yeah. Yes, you did. On creation roles.
I would just like to encourage the moms, the mothers, the wives, just going back and looking at the other two videos as well. Know your role. Mm-hmm. Know your responsibilities. Mm-hmm. And then have a conversation with your spouse so that the two of you are on one accord. Mm-hmm. Whether you're going back to work or going to work, or whether you're going to stay at home and care for the children, or whatever the case might be.
Right.
But I know the struggles of having to go back to work when you have a young baby or a young child or a toddler or a newborn, for that matter. I've been through all of that. So I just encourage you guys to have a conversation with your spouse. And y'all come to an agreement on what needs to be done for your household. What's best for your household.
Right.
Like my husband said, don't compare yourself to other people's homes and their households, their finances, or whatever it is that they do. Do what's best for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say that as well. And if you run into an impasse, seek counsel. Yeah. But speak with people that have your best interests at heart, who want to see you win, who want to see your marriage thrive and flourish, and see your family blessed and prosper, and to see God be glorified in that. And that's why we try to provide counsel to those who seek it as well too. But if you have a church, your church should be able to help you in that. This is why church is important. Even though we're in this COVID-19 situation, you can still get counsel online or through phone conversation. The power of God's word is not just restricted to four walls.
Right.
Okay? So if you need the help, reach out for it. Don't let pride cause your marriage to fail and your relationships to fall because you don't want to do the necessary work to make that thing happen. So I think we're done.
I think so.
All right. So if you like this information, like the video, again, please share it. Please like it. Definitely subscribe to it. Hit the notification button on the bottom. If you like to get merchandise, BCV, book, chapter, verse, as you see on top of my crown, you can do that. Email me, SaikoWoods@yahoo.com, or inbox me on Facebook under SaikoWoods. Ladies, if you'd like to reach out to the wife, you can do so.
SRENA Woods 36@yahoo.com, or Sharon Renee Woods on Facebook inbox.
All right, and that is it for now. And again, also, if you'd like to support the ministry financially, you can do that through PayPal or through Cash App at the bottom of the comment section below in the video. Appreciate the love. Appreciate your prayer. Appreciate your prayer. Appreciate your prayers. Appreciate your prayers and your support. And until the next time, we love y'all. Listen, God bless. Have a great week. Later. Peace.
Bye.